Yeah. Got it.
Good morning, everyone. Well, it could be not morning wherever you are in the world. We are going live on Gathering of Light through Eva Lena Anderson's site. And this is the Kryon group that we haven't been together in quite a while. And we're kind of gathering today to discuss shielding and I got last night that we should also talk about healing. And so I know that everyone has different healing techniques and that you're learning, and we're all learning new healing techniques and maybe just using old healing techniques. But I believe that we have a lot to talk about today. So welcome to our beloved Alexandra and our amazing Cody Bryce. And thank you for allowing us to be here, Evelina.
Well, thank you. I just want to do a small correction. The Gathering of Light is all of our Kryon family's Gathering of Light page. So that is our event page. So we are here on equal terms. Yeah. Well,
Yes.
So shoot.
Well, when we were talking with Suki Reese in our last Zoom, we were talking about shielding, and we both were talking, and all of us were talking about the violet flame, Saint Germain's violet flame. And she was talking about stepping into the violet flame. You know, I do use the violet flame. She uses her protection twice a day, once in the morning when she gets up and once before she goes to bed. And I do also, although sometimes I do it in between if my intuition is telling me to shield. And I do my violet flame a little bit different, but I like the idea of stepping into the violet flame light and just letting it take whatever it needs to the higher dimensions to be transformed. And then we also talked about Sananda saying whenever we get rid of the dross with the violet flame, we need to replace it with his God's liquid light and love, knowledge and wisdom, balance and centralization, and keeping our vibration high. So if you take something away, replace it with that, so that you're not left with a void. And that was something that I just discovered, and I've been doing that. Anybody else have any experience with the violet flame?
I used to work with it a little bit, not a whole bunch, you know, but I actually used to do it with kind of getting rid of any energetic connections that I had with anybody else, like especially like relationship wise, you know, if there's that type of thing is kind of usually used for that type of thing, getting rid of those energies that are stuck within you from them. And I never did the stepping into it. I always had the flame come from the heart itself and spread out through the body, and kind of seemed more heart-based, if you will, because I didn't want to, you know, get rid of these energies and it kind of like get away, bad type of thing. It's more of a I'm letting them go. I don't longer need them, all that type of thing.
That's exactly right, Cody. And what I've been finding out is I've been finding a lot about the violet flame. I knew about it years ago, reading Elizabeth Clare Prophet books and the I Am That I Am books, but I've never really seriously worked with the violet flame until lately. And one thing I've learned is when you do send things to the violet flame, you are supposed to do it with love. So that's good, Cody. You did right. You did good.
Yeah. Well, I have also worked with the violet flame, and I used it a lot during the 90s. when we were clearing houses and homes and using that a lot. And I've been thinking a lot about the violet flames as we talked about it last time, and about shielding too. And yeah, well, because everyone was so good, you know, shielding themselves a couple of days, a couple of times a day. And I was feeling like, no, but I'm not shielding myself consciously a couple of times per day. But then I started to think that I wake up and I feel gratitude to life and towards a lot of things. And somehow that is for me a form of shielding, because I do turn to a higher source. So that is a shielding for me too. So that can be in different ways. But the violet flame, I do hear what you both are saying, and to me it's the same thing, but how you are using it, the intention is the same. So, but if you are feeling like you are, you know, pushing it away or getting rid of things, of course, I would also use it from the heart. But I have used it as a flame when I have used it on homes, because then I see the flame and I see the house in the flames, so to speak. So it's a very powerful modality to use. That's my experience.
Yeah, I was really excited to share this with you guys. You know, when I have a Kindle, actually I have 4 Kindles, 2 are old, but I get to read a lot of books on Amazon that I wouldn't have access to. And I was led to this last night and I'm going, wow, this is like crazy that this came up. Since we're talking about the violet flame, it was last night in the, like before I couldn't go to sleep, and the full moon always affects me that way. But this is what I was reading about the galactics, what they have, and Sananda, what he has to say about the violet flame. Lavender seems to have strong extraterrestrial connotations to it, along with angelic. It represents many consciousnesses, not just one being or a group of beings. It's like there was a reconnection made on some level between individuals and their guardian angels who are committed to their individual well-being. Lavender is the most delicate, the most healing of all energies right now. You will notice that each consecutive ritual in its certain color or colors has prepared the way for the next color, which is to follow. And then it talks about the pink bringing in a lot of healing on psychological natures and emotional balance. And thus now lavender shows up, the angels can come through it and have an opportunity to create miracles in our lives, especially if it is consciously understood that it is happening. But even if it were not, as long as there's a sign that 51% of a person's consciousness is aligned with what is good for the planet, the angels can work with the 49% that is not. We will see more rapid development in people in a shorter amount of time. The lavender is much more cleansing of everything. So the lavender mist with its falling diamonds is like a general antiseptic for all cleansing purposes. Excuse me. As if the lavender were the last final cleanup to remove any final adverse energy that would get in the way. Sorry for coughing, you guys. It's the smoke out here. It will also work great to awaken the intuitive nature of persons so that they can become more aware, because these diamond stars were falling. It tells me that individuals are inviting more and more of their own higher selves to come down and express in them. I thought that was quite amazing synchronicity, so I had to read it.
I'm glad you did.
Thank you. I know I'm just jumping in. This is Maureen for those questions.
Good morning, Maureen.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Just back from doggy care. So hi. I just happened to listen to, of course I'm forgetting her name right now, but a gal that does a weekly kind of invocation or something for the collective to benefit raising frequency. And it was all about the violet flame today.
Wow.
And then I turn you guys on, and I don't always listen to her. I just happened to, listen while I was getting ready. And then here you are speaking of the violet flame. So
I know.
I was running some, and I feel like there's a little bit of an irritation energy, or is it just in the air today or something? Like that's what I was picking up on, and nothing had happened. I was all by myself. So anyway, feeling it more clear now, but continue. I just had to add that.
Well, the irritation in the air is probably the smoke that you're
Yeah.
getting in your Northwest, and I'm getting, which has been happening really seriously bad for a solid week. And then before that, I mean, the fires are all over, but I can't even see the foothills.
Yeah, here they say our air quality is worse, the worst place in the whole nation. Maybe it was further. I'm not feeling it as bad as sometimes I've experienced, but we were downtown Seattle in South yesterday, and it's quite dense. And then, but the fire here has got a lot closer, not close to my house, but there's even more smoke than yesterday. So
Yeah.
yeah. Fires.
Do
Clearing
you
it up.
usually have forest fires around you? Because I think you've been talking about this earlier too. Are you in?
Well,
in
it
that?
was only the last 2 years. I mean, usually it's east of the mountains, like east. I'm in Western Washington, so this side doesn't usually get much this close. And so they even said it's like, and was wind involved too. And now there's very little wind, but there's no moisture or anything. And so it's just keeps, and it's not 0 point contained. And they just evacuated again another little town near me. So it's moving. Usually we get the smoke from Eastern Washington, Canada, and Oregon. So yeah, I've talked about it in the past, but this time it's our own area smoke too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry about it. Sorry.
Yeah.
So
They're trying to protect the towns. I think they haven't lost too much as far as last time I heard, but a lot of forest damage.
my mind pops away to why we are shielding ourselves and the things we are using to shield ourselves. In this case, we were talking about the violet flame, but the shielding. Shall we talk about the shielding? Because somehow I felt a connection between shielding both physical and the areas that we are living in. They are connected. So why do we shield ourselves?
I don't shield myself. It's new earth.
Yeah.
Yes, it is new earth. Yes, the Kryon family, it is new earth. Right? Of course, we're talking about layers of consciousness, and that's what we are, let's say, experiencing. I can talk for myself only, of course, yes. Experiencing layers of consciousness, right? And also today is abundance of choices. So personal note is what I decided to just lay down and let the flow of the day, the abundance of choices, just pass through, right? Because as John says and Maureen says, in the smoke of the mind, yes, we can't make choices, yes. So I know I have the abundance of choices every day, right? I can wake up tomorrow morning and make another choice, right? Not necessary when the smoke is all around. Yes. But talking about the shields, I believe that Eva says about the shielding and funny enough, maybe not funny, but funny enough, a few days ago, Ascended Masters, today is Master Hilarion, yes. Cody, yes, so Master Hilarion and Melchizedek, welcome. But the twin flame, yes, Lady Portia and her beloved were with me. But it was the loving flame, yes. I don't see it any longer as flame, I just see it as them, yes. So I know their presence, I know they are here, so I just say thank you very much for your presence with me today. So like acknowledging that they are working within my energy, because that's I can only speak for myself, because I as I grow on my spiritual journey, because it's still adventure of the lifetime, yes, it's adventure of the lifetime. I've noticed that through my mind, I can't consciously, in other words, because so much is going on in the world. I'm talking about the spiritual world at the moment, yes. So as I'm talking with myself during the day, yes, I like to leave a little bit of gap of I don't know. I really don't know, yes. I know that I am protected, but I know for sure, yes. I know that I am loved. I know that I am loved. I know that I am light. That's it, yes. If anything is happening around me, which is happening, yes, it's, we are living creatures, yes. I have the trust in my team. And today I'm working with my E team, yes, not many people know, but my E team. So I know that they are working, let's say, the best, right, to keep me safe and keep me in light, which is present moment, yes, to be in the present moment. So I have the trust for myself, yes, but also the trust in my team, yes, that even if I have thoughts of doubt, even if I see like some darkness coming, or because we feel it, we see it, yes, we sense it, let's say, right? Something is not right, as John said. Something is not so happy, right? I don't go there any longer, because it's not serving my conscious mind. I feel the purity, yes. So if I have to do anything, I just keep saying in my mind, like pure or high consciousness or source, yes, or compassion or love or life. So anyway, what I'm saying is to focus my mind on the, say, positive or heartwarming feelings, if you will, or heartwarming thoughts, because those thoughts as love, as compassion, as trust, as kindness, generosity, yes, the world, yes, has the vibration, has the power of love itself, yes. So if anything is happening, it's happening, yes, as it is, but me focusing on this, say, positive or this heartwarming vibration brings the bliss for myself, right?
What I've been doing most.
Yep, I totally agree. It is a battle for our minds, and we do,
Consciousness shift is tremendous.
right.
Consciousness shift for the last 48 hours, and it's almost there. Yeah? So I advise to be in silence. Yes, that, as you know, I went out yesterday to do the recording to help my brothers and my sisters, and I was cut off. Literally, I was cut off.
I know.
Yeah, silence. I was like,
I know. I was listening, and all of a sudden, it just I was checking all of my things to say, is it my tablet? What is it?
No, it was my device. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all. That's from me. Yeah? That's how I see it. Yeah? But the twin flame, Lady Portia and Master Saint Germain, I see them in different reality, let's say. They're not flames like the purple, they are golden for me now. I see them in golden light. I'm sure you feel it, you feel the love, yeah.
Very focused on the. Were you saying something, Eva?
No.
Oh.
I'm just listening in and you know, trying to connect the dots a bit here. I can see that that's the same thing, because I also do believe that when I tune into my I am presence, or the source, that I also have this belief that I'm totally protected and guided, and whatever comes along is for me to learn from. So I do feel that I in a sort of way shield myself, and I can see that it's in alignment with the new consciousness and awareness that you are moving towards, you know, the knowing of being in a vibration where you are secure and loved, and everything that comes with that. I can also see that we are using shielding and the violet flame and boundaries as tools before we manage to step into that knowing within ourselves.
I am. That's beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah.
I am.
Yeah.
That's what I look at it as, is like, I'll just feel, if I notice that, it helps me to feel more, it happens very quickly too. The moment I focused on the violet flame, just, or the clearing of discord or whatever, acknowledged it, and I do feel protected by my team, so there's no fear. But I guess I do, you still use tools to suddenly shift that little something that I'm sensing, you know, or I look in and see, oh, is it within me that I'm, you know, something going on. But I guess that's how it, yeah, I would say I use it as a tool. But I have other people I know that are very much more focused on the protections and their reasonings and that, and that's not it's not something that I've done very much with.
I'm
But
sure that Cosma, our beloved sister Johnny has saying about where the energy goes, right? Johnny, where the energy goes, right?
I don't know exactly which one you're talking about, but where the I don't know what saying that would be. I do know we're all frequency and vibration, so is that what you're talking about?
About the love. You always say about the
Oh,
love.
love is
Yes,
the
the
answer
love.
to all questions.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess when you bring up the word shielding, immediately your mind goes to something that you have to be in fear about. But
Yeah.
us as light workers, I know we don't fear. Other people that aren't connected to the light or don't know the angels are there for us, they may go into fear.
So just to finish it, and then yes, that's just finish. Yes, thank you, Johnny, for this. Because what I also do, like for myself personally, before I fall asleep, right? I say, Archangel Michael, please look after me while I'm asleep, right? That's what I do. Yeah. So if
I do that too.
right, and then I'm just covering myself, in love and light, and then
Yeah.
fall asleep.
And I don't just use the violet flame. I do use the angels. And
Look after me.
I know in my life, I think I told Eva this when we were talking with Suki last week, but this was privately. But I told her there's been about 12 times in my life that I shouldn't be here. And it started when I was a tiny, like below 3 years old. I've had to I used to have nightmares, and until adulthood, I would wake up, sit up in bed and swing at things. I would keep my door locked. So I know I've been saved for something, and I'm 76 now, and now I know that. But anyway, getting back to Archangel Michael, as soon as I learned about his protective blue cloak, and every night I asked him to wrap me in his protective blue cloak, And ever since I started doing that, I've never had another nightmare. I've never been afraid. I've never had any fears and night terrors or anything since that. And so every night I ask Archangel Michael to wrap me in his protective blue cloak while I sleep.
But that is also a shielding.
It is. That's why Alexander brought it up, and that's why I wanted to say yes.
I think we all use shieldings in some way, but we are referring it to different levels. And
Mhm.
Different levels.
yeah, so and they are all useful. I can see that. And while you were talking about, sitting up and just when you talk now, I got the picture of Archangel Michael holding the shield in front of him. And I started to remember that we had a conversation about the other realms, because there are entities in other realms that we are not confrontating in this moment, because they have nothing to do with us, since we are on a, moving up from a lower level, so to speak. But the oldest battle of good and evil, if you would like to call it that, has been played out in higher realms and higher dimensions. So, of course, there are entities that not necessarily need to be bad, because that is our terms of definition, or how to define the entities. But yeah, I do believe that the conscious awareness, and if you do need to use tools as a guidance to help me set the intention, yeah, we sure need to use those things, because that is also one of those things that keep us in connection with our higher self and higher dimensions.
Thank you for mentioning that, Eva, because last night I was also guided to this little short paragraph. Archangel Michael said, "The best defense is to always stay in the light, and when confronted with a dark energy, proceed with calling in the forces of light. We will then be able to take over using the higher energy forces available to us. We are encouraged by those who are able to discern and welcome the opportunity to support the cleansing from above, but we can only come when called, as this is the way of the Father. It is the call that is made from the third dimensional realm that allows us to enter into the affairs of that dimension to resolve that which is out of harmony. We are able to do this whenever a call is made." And that's from Archangel Michael.
Thank you, Tom.
Reminds me of like a,
Okay.
sorry.
Oh, Cody, it's you.
Okay. It kind of reminds me of like a permission slip, like they're getting a permission slip to come and intervene or help out, but there's our own permission slips, as shielding is a permission slip to get to a different type of vibrational state of being. It's we have all our different types of ways of shielding, but it's just all different types of permission slips to get into the same state, which would be of a higher, vibrational, love, light, that type of thing. And that when you're in that vibrational state of being, you attract that vibration. So you attract the frames of reality that align with your vibrational frequency. And so if you're always at a high frequency, you're never going to have a frame of reality that has to deal with any negative or any entities that would want to, that you need to shield from. You're just constantly in a state where you're flowing through life without any real care, if you will. So it's all about your vibrational state of being. Basically, it's all about vibration and all about your definitions and beliefs that lead to those vibrations, basically, or kind of guide them, if you will. But I was also remembering a conversation of there's this lady that wanted to like sage some like stage. She was a performer or something like that, but that place wouldn't allow her to use sage, and so she was wondering, what way that you can, still cleanse that area without using any sage. And the response is that you be the sage, you be that energy that clears out everything around you. So as long as you're the light and love, it spreads out and you don't need to do anything else. You walking into that room clears everything. You know, you are
Yes.
it.
Yep. That's awesome, Cody. Yes. You guys are all amazing. I've noticed, and I'm sure Alexandra has too, how fast we're all rapidly changing. We're all going through these separately, but together. And it's so nice when we can get together and share that. The energy is amazing.
Yes, it is. So what did you just experience, Alexandra?
Shall we start again? I would say, yes. Shall we start again? No, I experienced so much love is happening right now. Thank you so much, Eva, for inviting, for organizing the gathering of life. Really, I'm really honored. I'm really, really happy that we met in this kind of family circle. Thank you so much. I love you. All right, what I experienced, it maybe it will be a clue or a hint what's happening today. I'm talking about today. Yes, I had a dream, really long dream, but to make it short. So I was there in the dream, yes, and I'm talking about the multi-layer of the, let's say, consciousness, but it's not only, it's also consciousness, dimensions, and it depends where the person is at. Yes, so anyway. So what I was experiencing within my circle, right? A construction site, right? So there were ladders, to climb, yes, trees to climb, the crane, right? I'm correct, crane, yes, crane, yes, closets, everything at once at this one construction site, yes. Like I was looking at it like, wow, just, observe, yes. And people were running around up and down, and especially they were running from the higher point of view down, right? So that's why I was resting today. Let it happen. Let it, flow the decisions. Yes, it's happening outside, not outside of me, outside, but that the life team, yes, and on a global scale they are working. What I'm saying is that Earth is a huge constructive site at the moment. Yes, on the conscious shift, let the climbing up and down as well. Yes, and that was my dream, right? That was my dream.
Well, you also said that we are or has been in a huge shift the past 48 hours, and I'm sure we experience that energy in very different ways, even though we might have the same experience. But I do need to share one thing. When you said you're going from a higher point of view down, running down, that is my Outlook calendar. I don't know what's going on with that, so to speak. I have a full schedule in my Outlook, and yesterday or a couple of days ago, it was almost cleansed out.
No kidding.
I lost appointments. I lost a lot of information that I put.
I'm sorry, Emma. I'm sorry. I know what
that's totally fine. And I was like, I can't remember which day and what time I had put in my calendar. And I started, to give hints to people. Can you please confirm or get back to me? What have you decided? And yesterday it popped back again. So the calendar was full again. So now I'm starting to remember myself and put it in there instead of putting it in my calendar. Because, I thought it would be like, high tech, following in the modern world, put things in the calendar and let go of it. And no, don't do that. Don't do that. Yeah, the energies or the talent shifts are amazing, because sometimes you feel like you are in a time loop, that you are back in the same wheel of unfortunate things.
That deja vu.
and you have just been up here where everything's going fine, and then you're down there repeating the same things and back. So yeah, physically there are a lot of funny things to
That's correct.
do.
Physical. I
Yeah.
feel it's physical. Today is very physical. I don't know. I yes, physical is today. Physical. Well, it
And
was today.
I don't really follow the Schumann method, like study it or even know it all that well. But I think it's interesting that it's also been in a blackout for what, like 4 or 5 days. There's no signal there, or
Maureen,
nothing
can you check your mic? Can you check your mic?
Sure. I can try. I may have not
Oh, it's
great
better.
headphones.
It's better. Yeah.
Okay, I'll hold it.
Thank you.
I was just speaking of the Schumann resonance and how that chart, it just shows as a solid blackout for days now. And I guess that's never happened. And I just think it's when I look at that and I don't really know too much about it, it still just feels like a reset to me. But I don't know if that's what it
Yeah.
is. But it just kind of coincides with the feeling of what you're speaking of, or rebuilding and that.
Well, it probably is connected to everything is connected with each other, because the sun had for a couple of days back. It had a sun eruption on the back side of the sun, and that energy is going to go like a circle around the sun, and on its way around, we are going to be exposed by those energies. Yeah, and that is happening right now in the beginning of this week. So
Ask Eva. Yes, ask Eva. You don't know what's happening? Ask Eva.
I did know about the
Thank
sun
you.
eruption. I did know about that, but I didn't know if it came around. Yeah, like it's working through this week is what
Hmm.
my understanding was.
yeah.
But yeah,
Hmm.
can definitely feel something's happening like usual, but in a different way, and I don't know exactly what. I mean, I noticed Alexander and I have talked about some things and some things going on differently with me again, but in this general discussion, it's just yeah, the overall change I'm feeling is different, and I'm feeling called to. I know my in-laws will never be on here probably, but it was just something that happened yesterday. Was just it's kind of symbolic in that, okay, they are, they're in their 80s and
Could you please raise your mic?
they're in their 80s and they're high functioning, doing really well. But we were at a place. Oh, are you there? We were at a person's house for dinner last night, and they have a screen door that goes to the back deck where we were having our food. Well, first, one person, I'll just say it that way, got up and he went to go in through the screen to the doorway, and he forgot the screen was there, but he like pushed into it and bent the whole screen, right? And so he wasn't hurt, but it wasn't okay. It was still usable at that point. Not more than 10 minutes later, maybe 15, my mother-in-law had another person saw him do this, right? And then sat down, and she was in a different room. She got up 10 minutes later to come out on the deck, and she literally charged through and totally destroyed the screen because she didn't see it and she fell through it. But it was a cloudy day with the screen right there. And I'm like, what is going on? And anyway, the man has no more screen on his door right now on that window. It is totally demolished. I'm like, well, it really must want to be changed out. I was trying to figure it. What is energetically happening?
Now
Or
you know.
symbolizing,
Now you know. Now you know.
And
Wow.
I was like, they didn't, and she just saw it, that pattern, and yet just did it again. And no one's ever, we think on there, many years over off and on, at least once a year. No one's ever done that before. And then at 2 times in 15 minutes, someone didn't see the screen that's always
Wow.
been there. So that's kind of energy, I think, that we're dealing with,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
That's
It also popped up in my Facebook feeds of, I think it was a post from Dolores Cannon, posted by Nicole, and
Mhm.
she explains about the shift going on, the separation, the earth is separated from each other, and she's so good explaining things.
Yeah.
Yeah, she is the foundation of explanations. Beside Cody, he can also explain perfectly well. But yeah, it was interesting. Did you read it? I know Johnny.
The division of the two worlds.
Yeah.
I've read it. I mean, I've had most of her books over the course of my life, and since the 80s, I've known about Dolores Cannon, and I know Alexandra knows about Dolores
Mhm.
Cannon too. And she was an amazing pioneer. She's known all over the world now. So I see people posting, young people that are posting little snippets of Dolores Cannon on my Instagram. I'm going, wow, this is like
Yeah.
crazy. So all these young people are discovering Dolores, and I've known about her since the 80s. So I don't know. I think it's just awesome.
What I thought was fascinating is that she was actually talking about the conscious choices that people are making, and that when the earth, the split is acting on, and that is applicable right now, people will either move along or be separated, and those who are staying back in the normal state of being, so to speak, will not notice that there has been a shift.
Yes.
So that, I guess that everything that we are experiencing right now is a positive sign that we are actually moving into the new earth. Otherwise, we wouldn't be feeling this rocky road, right? So maybe we just should enjoy this
Yes,
bumpy road.
that's what we're supposed to do. You guys can't, nobody can imagine the most incredibly awesome things that we're going into. And if we did, you would just have a big smile on your face every single day. And so,
Like Alexandra has right now.
yeah, we're under construction, huh, Alexandra?
Yes, we are under big construction, and each of us has let's say a positive income and outcome of what's going on. Yes. Dolores Cannon. Without her teaching, I wouldn't be here.
Wow,
I wouldn't be here.
wow.
It was the session which I had back in England, in Wales, right? I was, yeah. Long story short, it was the first session, and I remember my way because I was living in the middle of England, yes, and my partner was driving me to Wales to QHHT practitioner, right? And I remember when he was asking me, do you know what it is, how it close, or things like that, and I said, look, and there was 3 rainbows, but very short rainbows, like 1, 2, 3, and then the third one, I said to him, we close, yes. And after the session, my life was completely, upside down. Thanks heaven for that, right? And I got to know me. It was the first session, thanks to Dolores Cannon teachings, because she was the creator of QHET. Thanks to her, I met God. Yes, I saw my benevolent Archangel Gabriel. Yes, I went through hell. I was so much afraid. So it was like really hell from the Catholic Church, which I grew. Yes, so that the fire, the door, the smoke, everything was there. I was so much afraid to go through it, and my beautiful practitioner, she helped me to go through it. Yes. So what I'm saying, that the teaching of Dolores Cannon is priceless, is absolutely priceless. Yes.
Yeah, and without Dolores Cannon and the QHHT, I wouldn't have sought out Alexandra 2 years ago and I wouldn't be here with you guys today. But because of Dolores Cannon, and I knew I needed something, and I found Alexandra. Out of all the whole world, I find
She was
Alexandra.
my teacher. She was my teacher
Alexandra.
for several months. She was working. I'm so emotional when I'm talking about her. A little bit privacy, yes. Why not? Why not? So anyway, she was working with me for several months with Ascended Masters, yes. With Martha the Collective, I didn't know it's Martha the Collective by then. I was like master this, master, so all the rays of life. And that's how I found the QHET, yes, the ET, yes, quantum healing experience technique, which is not hypnosis. And that's what I'm saying to Eva. It's not, um, it's another layer of consciousness, right? So it's not that QHET changed. No, QHET is the core teaching of my what I desired. Yes, I created the QHET. It's always the light. Yes, everything what is light, and you are the light. And even if you have attachment of we are going through hell, at the end of the road you will find the light. Yes, always, and ever know that. And yes, all of you experience. But now I'm sound like a teacher. Yes, thank you. But as I'm growing now from my within, yes, the Kryon family, with Martha the Collective, I don't know what's next for me. I really don't know. But I see it as another milestone for me, yes, that it's not hypnosis, yes. The QHT, it's not a hypnosis. It's simply quantum healing, yes. And as everyone know, and I'm so grateful for all the sessions which we had together, yes, and John and Maureen and Kobe, that it was always the light, right? And because I was so much, let's say, focused on the hypnosis, because people will love it, people will understand, and so on, yes. I was so much afraid to, as John said, to let the light in and leave everything, like truly, and you know me, yes, leave everything and see through my own thinking, right? So the QHET, I postponed it for a few months to learn what exactly I am teaching, right? Not following anyone, yes? Will it work? Yes, it works for me and it works for Maureen and for Cosmo. Yes, it's always in the session, it always works. How? I have no idea, right? But I can teach you how to provide the session for clients. Yes? How it works, our life teams know, right? So I don't take a credit, right, for being a healer in this sense, yes? But I'm taking a credit for creating this modality and show it to the world. When? Probably in the moment. Yes. Thank you. Thank you so much. And gratitude to Dolores Cannon and our team. Yes. Thank you. I'm telling you, Big shift.
Big shift and a lot of love. Mm. I also thought of when we were talking about using, that was you, Cody, saying using the sage, yourself as sage. I saw these rose petals just starting to develop around. So do you want to do anything with the rose petals?
Roses are always my favorite, permission slip, if you will. My favorite tool. They have such a high vibration and cleansing ability. They're like filters that just take in everything and then clear out. And I was also thinking of like one shielding I used to do. Actually, one thing I would do whenever I got into deep meditation is I would have my roses in a layer of 3, so 3 roses all was circling me, and so that I'm protected on all sides. And if one was to happen to hit a negative energy or something like that, it would absorb it and it would basically shatter and release that energy back to source, and the 2 behind it would move forward and a brand new rose would take the place in the back. And so there's constantly a shield basically around you to where nothing could get in ever. It was kind of my like a ritual, if you will, of before going into deep meditation. But that was always fun to do. But roses are really fun because it doesn't have to be serious. It doesn't have to be like, I need to cleanse this thing, I need to do this. Like I would use roses driving a car. I don't actually drive, but someone driving me, I put roses basically in a tunnel. Like we're going through a tunnel of roses to the place that we're going. And whenever I do that, we have a perfect drive. Nobody swerves into us or does anything. It's smooth, usually all green lights. It just happens to be like the perfect path that you drive just because you're surrounded by roses. It's fun. Yeah.
I think John is using her submarine in those cases. Yeah.
I still, when I moved into this house, I used Cody's putting the roses in all the corners and filling the room up and exploding. You can say it better than I do it, just and it's so amazing how it works. I love it. And of course, roses are my favorite scent. I don't put anything on me that's not rose. So.
You all are reminding me of my very first, it was when I was in my 20s and I was just kind of interested in clairvoyant things, and I wasn't really pursuing it, but I just happened to be, I went through like this little certificate or session place and that was in the neighborhood, and it was teaching me, like, because I always thought I was intuitive, but that was one of the teachings that they taught, was when there was something like that was you wanted to release, to picture a rose form and then it explode in petals. Like that's what they used the rose for the teaching to people that were brand new to it.
Nice confirmation.
Very good. Very good. Very good.
When Cody was speaking, I got this picture of roses, rose petal, and I saw the color of pretty, not the fade pink, but the more sharp pink, like I don't know what you call it, series, something. Yeah. So, but out of curiosity, Cody, what color are you using on your roses?
Depends on the time, because like usually it would be like a classic red, just because that's like the image of a rose that I would normally have. But roses come in all colors basically, and so it's basically, if I'm wanting a cooler, calmer space, I would put blue roses around. It'll kind of cool it down, type of thing. If I'm wanting to heat it up, red roses are perfect. If I'm wanting more intensity, I would use a multicolored rose, so it's like almost shining, that it's so bright, and so you can kind of play with it, if you will, to what the effect you might get out of it. But if I'm not really thinking about it, I'll just use the typical red. dark red rose.
I felt like it was connected to the energies of, let's say, Mother Mary when you're drawing it down, and the frequency of Michael. Yeah, so interesting. Yeah, Johnny, do we?
I was thinking of Cody's crystals, and you know, aren't the crystals kind of a shielding thing too, Cody?
Oh yes,
You,
yeah.
you, okay, I have to say it. Yes, I'm sorry. Yes, you don't have to agree with me, or yes. But if you're giving away a power, right, to the crystal, where is your power?
Oh, I'm not talking about that. I understand we're not supposed to give away our power. That's true. But I believe that, I don't know, Cody, you have something to say about crystals.
Yes,
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah. It's not like I let the crystal do the work for me, if you will. I use it as an amplifier of the energy that I already have within me. So it's like they hold the resonant frequency of a certain thing that I'm wanting to achieve. And so I'm using it as the amplifier of the frequency that I'm trying to match, and it increases. So if I'm using, like my rose quartz, sphere, and trying to have that love frequency, that opening of the heart, I'll first have that intention of opening up the heart, having that frequency, then using the crystal to amplify it. So it's that type of thing. It's not always just using the crystal and that's the thing that's going to do it. It's you with the crystal,
Right.
I got my crystal here today.
Ah.
Beautiful. What is it, Eva?
Yeah, pyrenit.
Oh.
You do know what that is. It's in Swedish. So
yeah, I was like putinate. I don't think I've heard of that one.
I'm with you on it. I'm with you.
So that one. I also digged up my old stuff here. This is I actually use this as a amplifier and shielding when we are talking about that. When I did a lot of cleansing energy work before, and I know Johnny knows what this is. And this is a cross of the rose quartz.
Oh yes. I had one of those.
Yeah.
I had an actual one that was.
Yeah. We in Swedish I say vaira. I guess you pronounce it differently in the English. It's also, what people doesn't know is that this little thing comes in different shapes and sizes, and it is also remarkable in a way that is amplifying, and you can connect this, or I shouldn't say connect, but if you're using the northern mythology, you have a Thor's hammer, and there's a connection energetically how to use them. It hasn't dropped the information that I wanted to share right now, just from an impulse, hasn't dropped down yet, but this is a marvelous little thing to use, and it helps clearing up a lot of things. So you can visualize that one too, if you want to. Well, I don't know why I brought this up. I also got my pendulum.
Whoa, that's a big pendulum.
Yeah,
Whoa.
I'm getting, collecting things bigger and bigger right now.
Whoa.
If Code is going to be on with his crystals, I need to step up.
Yeah, step up.
No, just kidding. Just kidding. Is there anyone who wants to close things down? I'm thinking Cody, maybe Maureen. I dropped it on the floor. Sorry.
We should have some light language and some heart stuff from Cody.
Yeah.
Then
I can.
Just real quick, I had my rainbow quartz. This was by me
Wow.
for today.
Whoa.
Good night.
Is that a copper thread within it?
Yeah, it has a copper thread. And I was like, oh,
Beautiful.
where are all my, I forgot I set them outside. So I have, this is the one I had in the window. And it
Mm.
was
I
just right
love-
here by my head. So I'm like, oh, I'm going to share this.
I love rainbow stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good orgonite one. I have a pyramid that's orgonite as well, but not as colorful as that one.
Yeah, they're all so pretty. Yeah.
Mm.
Let's see. I was feeling that, yeah, that as I'm here, intention through my high heart, just noticing that I do have light language to share. And
Put your microphone up.
okay, I gotta take different earphones. Sorry. Okay, so, and I also don't have I'm holding my phone, so it's a complete out of sorts in here. Inside, I'm down. So here we go. All right. I like to think so anyway. Oshaleanti shano korsho bagadaya na. Dorleana kashe leana kadie leana kosonoya na kadea naya na kolora. Saliana ne kashe na koshono koshomone pagaleante hanyanyana koshomone. Salia shane leana kosho pagasanane tarishanaya na kolione pagadiya shana. It's like feeling into our empowerment, understanding that within we create what we wish to experience through our intention. This is all that is needed. Aligning with the source within will project. I'm not sure. Trying to go with that. Anyway, trust yourself. I'm going to say that. Posha me samone bachanyane liana koshora katene. Nasya moshamone bade. Haliande liana koshana bakadea. Nasya mona bokadia na bode. Ayane. Yeah. Like I feel this pat on my heart. Poshane shane na karionto shamone payante do kodoya na lade. Dasha nakataya nakatoen mokosomone. Hayana koshele okosade. Did you have something, Cody, or?
Well, I can grab the crystal. It would be a bit more powerful, or I can just feel
Go
the
grab
energy. I can grab it. Okay. Just yeah. Okay. So this is the crystal.
Whoa, big love bomb.
Yep. Yep. Going with the strong ones today.
Whoa.
Mhm.
I'm
Yeah,
so
well, I was-
with this one.
Yeah. Yeah. I was feeling the love throughout the session that we were doing today, just
Aw.
talking and stuff like that. And so I was like, it's a lot of energy that I actually have been missing, if you will. It's nice
Me
to feel.
too.
And so I thought a good love bomb would actually be appropriate.
Yeah, perfect.
So just tune into the intention of receiving the energy, and you shall. seems to be closing up the energy, but it's a quick little one, I think.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, it
Thank
took
you.
me a little bit to actually adjust it to the frequency. I haven't done it for so long that there's actual like a resistance to it. I was like, oh, no, just wait. Okay, sink into it. You're good.
I really felt that in my heart, like this opening and stretching in my heart chakra, even after during the light language, but also afterwards with the your presentation through the energy, and then my hands were like really, this right hand chakra really felt like it was expanding, and I was just picturing it flowing out, to everyone.
I felt it in my left palm. It was like, it's like tingling. Oh my goodness. Still doing it.
That's beautiful. Yeah. So, Johnny, are you closing the final words to close it down? Or is there anyone who has something more to say, to share?
I'm just saying that I just want to say flow with love like Cody always does.
But they're gonna say the same thing. So flow
But
with
I
love.
don't want to take the words out of his mouth, but that's what came to my head.
Oh, well, shine bright or wipe high.
All of you again.
So we are closing down here, and I would like to thank everyone who has been watching this or are going to watch this later on. And thank you all for being here. It was such a nice time to meet up with you again, the Kryon Coffee Club, right? That's
Right.
beautiful.
Wow.
So thank you all for being here, and thank you for watching. Take care.
Thank you.